Good afternoon and welcome back to my channel. This is a video that I've wanted to do for a few days now, and I apologize, I'm just getting around to it. But in this video, I'd like to pose a question, and that question is the W124 the best buy on the used car market? And we're talking about the best value. We're not talking about the best car on the used car market, because that opens a can of worms. And I mean, this does too, but at least now we're narrowing it down, because now we're talking about the best value. What do you get for the money that you spend? And to me, I'll go ahead and nominate the W124, because I'm not too sure how many cars in this price range can give you what the W124 gives you in terms of the comfort, the quiet, the smooth ride, the serviceability. And remember, these cars are gaining in value, so it's not like you're going to buy this and 2 years later, my goodness, I've lost $6,000 of residual value. Not at all. I believe personally that these cars have bottomed out, and that you're never going to be able to buy a W124 as cheap as you can today. And if you look at the trend, especially with classic Mercedes, because why wouldn't you follow the trend of other classic Mercedes when you're talking about one? If you look at the 126, they're starting to go up in price. The 123s are going up in price. The 115s and 108s, and those have been going up in price for a little while now. Obviously, they're older. But this era, the 201s are even starting to bring a little bit of money. And I personally think that the W124 is one of the finest driving vehicles that you're going to buy at any price. It is one of the finest driving automobiles you're going to buy at any price, period. And you can get them for a song. So, okay, I get it. I paid $4,000 for this with 71,000 miles. That's a unicorn. You're not going to find those every day, but it's proof you can. You can find them as long as you're diligent. Believe me, I searched for a year before I ended up buying this car. So, there are a lot of options that you come across in a year's time. And I just happened to find this one and I jumped on it. But not even talking about, is a 71,000 mile 124 the best buy? I'm talking about the W124 to any mileage, because for cars like this and the 126 and the 123 and a lot of these classic Mercedes, mileage is just a number. And often, instead of a hindrance to purchasing the car, it's more of a badge of honor. It's, they give you grill badges for meeting milestones, 500,000 miles and whatever. They give you grill badges for that stuff from Mercedes. So it's a badge of honor, and it's something that they're very proud of, that these cars are able to reach these mileage milestones. So mileage is just a number. If you find one that has 130,000 miles on it for $2,500, that's a lot of car for $2,500. You can't get much for $2,500. And there's one, I actually talked to the owner a couple of times before I bought this one. There's one in Omaha, Nebraska with, I want to say it's 131,000 miles for $2,500. And I know for a fact that you can get that car for $2,000 because the owner offered it to me for that. Needs some air conditioning work, but other than that, cruise control works, everything works, windows go up and down, sunroof works, car drives great. And I know that with a W124, if the air conditioning doesn't work, that's probably because the evaporator's leaking, and the evaporator is very difficult to get to. You got to turn the dash apart. So it's labor intensive, but it's not an expensive fix. It's just very time consuming. But that's just one example, and look around. There are 124s all over the place for really, really cheap prices. And there's going to be a day, and maybe it's 5 years from now, and maybe it's 15 years from now. There's going to be a day where we're going to look back, and I have a real good feeling about this, that we're going to look back and we're going to say, man, do you remember when those W124s were going for X amount of dollars? And we're going to say, that's crazy, because now they cost, so much. But the used car market is as unpredictable as any other market. But we do have several classic Mercedes to follow. to follow their example. And the W124 maintains a lot of the virtues that make the 123 and the 126 valuable. And I mean, if you look at a low mileage, clean, nice 123, they're very expensive now. You can find them cheap all day long, and I was really attracted to maybe getting one of those for my stepson because they were so cheap. But then you go out and you look at them all and you figure out immediately why they're so cheap. Because these things are some of the most unloved automobiles I've ever seen. What people are doing with these 123s, and if you have one and you've cut a hole in the hood and you've cut the coil springs and everything on it's dysfunctional, and you know, you're not taking care of the car, you're not doing the car justice. These things deserve to be loved. So knock it off, take care of your cars, especially these old wonderful classic Mercedes. But yeah, I mean, a good, fully functional, nice 123, it's still a very good car, still a very good buy. It's a little harder to live with in modern day traffic after driving a couple of them than an M104 powered W124. Just so much zippier in these cars. And that's not to say it's a hot rod, because it's far from a hot rod, but in modern traffic, to be able to accelerate up and on ramp and stuff like that, it's so much easier to do in a 124 than in a 123, where you have to be a very patient driver. And that's okay. That's okay to be a very patient driver. I think a lot of us could probably use that, but you know, in some cases you just want a little bit more acceleration, you want a little bit more power, and the 124 definitely delivers that, especially with this M104 engine. But it's so smooth, the engine is so smooth, so quiet, the car is infinitely repairable, it's made to be serviced. I mean, these cars, the hoods open up, you know, perpendicular to the ground, they're basically straight up and down, made to be worked on, made to be serviced. Parts are not expensive for these cars. The driving experience is absolutely amazing. There's very few cars that drive as well as a 124, even in modern terms. So, I mean, what else is there? Give me some of your opinions. If you've owned a W124, I'd love to hear, you know, what you have to say about it. If you haven't, then, you know, maybe you have a suggestion like, oh, how does it compare to this? I haven't owned every car, I haven't driven every car, but I've driven a lot. I've been in automotive service, I've been in automotive sales, I've been around cars for a lot of my life, and I'm familiar with a lot of them. If you have some suggestions, pitch them and let's talk about it. Let's go to the comments section here and let's talk about what you think might be the best value in used cars today. And again, it's not the best car. You know, this car is much better than that one. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the value. A very, very good W124. Excellent rust-free body, good paint, everything functions right. They're out there all over the place for less than $5,000. So what do you find in that price range that gives you what the W124 does? And let's talk about it, because I'm kind of excited to hear some of your responses. So do let me know, and we'll get to it. But that's all I have for today. Just letting you know that I personally think that this is, at the very least, in the conversation for maybe the best value in used cars. Certainly could be wrong, and if I am, I'm sure you'll let me know. So hit that comment section and let me know if you enjoy the content and you want to keep hearing about more of the classic Mercedes that we have in our family and maybe some beyond. I plan on continuing to post about classic Mercedes. I absolutely love them. So yeah, subscribe, because that's pretty much all I post anymore is Mercedes content. So looking forward to posting more and looking forward to hearing from some of you. So until next time, have a good day.